Hi, and welcome back to the BGSC podcast. On today's episode, we'll be looking at the UMass murders. It was a night like every other night in the UMass Amherst campus. Lights flashing and music booming as the UMass fraternity houses held their end-of-the-year parties. However, one regular was missing, Eric Vergo. The 27-year-old chef was instead on the floor of his apartment, his girlfriend dead in his arms.
2 weeks short of the end of the school year, Samantha Brown promised to run some errands for her roommate, but she never made it home. The UMass sophomore's body was found in her boyfriend's apartment 2 miles away. After looking through police records in the coroner's report, these are the symptoms she showed prior to her death.
Mild chest discomfort, shortness of breath, nausea, painful swallowing, a high fever, trouble breathing, coughing up blood, and other flu-like symptoms.
First, let's hear from her roommate.
Please state your name.
My name is Claire Bundy, with an IE. I'm not related.
How do you know Samantha Brown?
She's my roommate. We were dorm mates freshman year, and we share an apartment this year. We're close enough. We grew apart a little when she started dating Eric. He's always trying to tell her what she can and can't do, especially when it comes to hanging out with Alishka.
When did you last see her?
I asked her to print some pictures from CVS so I could use them in my cyanotypes, but that was last night. She didn't come home.
Cyanotypes. Don't those have cyanide in them?
I mean, technically, but the form of it that we use in class isn't dangerous, at least in its current form. Hypothetically, you might be able to return it to its toxic form. Hypothetically. I'm not a murderer. If you're asking me, I say it's Eric. He probably got mad at her for hanging out with his ex or whatever, and went all axe murderer on her. It wouldn't surprise me. I even made a painting about it.
A painting?
It came to me in a dream.
Upon investigation into Claire Bundy, we found that she was briefly hospitalized in 2019 for various mental illnesses, including severe bipolar disorder and acute paranoia. The police found a form of cyanide in their apartment. If Samantha was poisoned with cyanide, she would have had the following symptoms:
Chest pain and tightness, dizziness, weakness and or confusion, eye pain and or eye tearing, excitement, restlessness, breathing problems, rapid or slow breathing, rapid or slow heartbeat, headache, nausea and vomiting, coma, deaf, high or low blood pressure, lung injury, seizures, or losing consciousness before death. Cyanide disrupts cellular functions. It affects anaerobic respiration by binding to copper and iron molecules in the ETC. This inhibits cytochrome C oxidase activity. It also inhibits phosphorylation, preventing ATP from being produced.
It does this by redirecting energy production to anaerobic respiration pathways, quickly overwhelming them. Anaerobic means it doesn't require use of oxygen. This means that the organism dies of asphyxiation, even though they have oxygen in their system. Cyanide prevents oxygen from entering the cells. So even though there's oxygen in your bloodstream, it can't enter your cells, resulting in death. But the body was found at her boyfriend's house. Let's hear from him next.
State your name.
Eric Virgo.
How do you know Samantha?
We've been dating for a year and a half now. We met at the library. God, I miss her so much.
Sir, she's been dead 1 day.
I know.
When did you last see her?
It's been too long. How will I go on?
I mean, when did you last see her alive?
At my house. Alicia dropped her off. She said she felt sick, so I made her some mushroom soup. Then she died in my arms.
Mushrooms? What type of mushrooms?
What are you, the cops?
It's important that we know. She could have been allergic.
Something to take the edge off, you know? She was really struggling. I wanted to feel more, calm. If you ask me, it's her psycho roommate. She's insane. Always drawing that gruesome art with those dead people. It's disgusting. God knows she could have forgotten a pill or whatever and snapped. She's unstable. Literally psycho.
Upon investigation, overdose on psychedelic mushrooms is rarely, if ever, fatal. However, Eric could have mistaken which mushrooms he collected. Another species, the autumn skullcap, Galerina marginata, has a similar appearance and is extremely poisonous. If this mistake was made, and Samantha ingested the autumn skullcap, then her symptoms would include
diarrhea, vomiting, hypothermia, liver damage, and death if untreated and with enough amount in someone's system. They could potentially have only 7 days left to live. But how do mushrooms kill you? Toxic mushrooms, such as the autumn skullcap, contain chemicals called amatoxins. Amatoxins induce apoptosis.
apoptosis is a series of events that lead to pre-programmed cell death. This causes the cell to rupture and recycle cellular compounds and materials to prevent them from leaking into the extracellular matrix. Mass apoptosis can lead to tissue death and ultimate death of the larger organism. Alicia, her friend, and Eric's ex-girlfriend, was the one who dropped her off that night. Let's hear from her. State your name.
Alicia Maxwell.
How do you know Samantha?
We started hanging out a year and a half ago. We both had STEM majors, so we just kind of clicked, you know? Did you check on Eric? I hope he's all right. He really needs someone to comfort him right now.
When did you last see Samantha?
I saw her walking on the street from CVS. She looked a little under the weather, so I picked her up in my car to check up on her. She seemed rather sick, so I dropped her off at Eric's house so he could take care of her. His mother is a nurse and all, and I was panicking, and it's all I could think of.
You work in the microbiology lab, correct? Aren't some of those bacteria dangerous?
Not to extents like that. We're modifying E. coli right now. If you're suspicious, you can go dig up the petri dishes. Why would I kill my best friend? If you ask me, it's Tommy. He's always competing with her on grades and all that. I don't know.
After investigation and classification of the bacterium growing on the dishes, it was identified as not E. coli, but instead Bacillus anthracis.
If Samantha was exposed to anthrax, these are some of the symptoms that could follow. Flu-like symptoms for a few hours or days, such as sore throat, mild fever, fatigue, and muscle aches, mild chest discomfort, shortness of breath, nausea, coughing up blood, painful swallowing, high fever, trouble breathing, shock, an acute medical condition involving collapse of the circulatory systems, and meningitis.
After doing some research with the National Library of Medicine, we discovered that anthrax is a Category A priority pathogen due to its extreme toxicity. The most hazardous form of anthrax is anthrax inhalation. This is due to the fact that the bacteria, Bacillus anthracis, produces spores which travel throughout your body.
These spores enter the lungs alveoli. The spores are then engulfed by immune cells and transported to the regional lymph nodes. This is where the bacteria germinate and produce toxins. These toxins can induce cell damage and cell death. The bacteria infects the bloodstream, leading to septic shock, as these toxin-producing bacterium enter all parts of the body, ultimately leading to death.
Our investigation with Alicia Maxwell led us to Tommy Clyde. We were able to interview him via the phone.
State your name.
Tommy Clyde.
How do you know Samantha?
Who?
Samantha Brown?
Oh, she's my classmate. We have chem together.
When did you last see her?
Chem?
How is your relationship with her?
Fine. We compete for grades. Currently, I'm 0.2% higher.
She was murdered yesterday. You know that, right?
Huh? Oh, I'm permanently 0.2% higher. We were group mates for our project on reducing the effects of arsenic, if that matters to you.
Could she have been exposed?
Only if she was stupid and didn't follow procedures. That's her own fault, not mine. We really didn't talk much outside of class. Tell her family I'm sorry, I guess? Why are you talking to me still?
Hello? Hello? Mr. Clyde?
If Samantha was poisoned with arsenic, either by mistake or by sabotage, these would be her symptoms.
Abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, sore throat, abnormal heart rhythm, hypotension, pins and needles feelings in fingers and toes, red swollen skin, and garlic odor in breath and body tissues. But why is arsenic so deadly? Arsenic is a famous poison because it deploys a multifaceted attack on your cellular respiration by preventing pyruvate from forming acetyl coenzyme A. It also disrupts the citric acid cycle from prohibiting the production of NADH, but also FADH too. This is detrimental to overall ATP production, as NADH and FADH2 are chemical compounds that carry electrons over from the citric acid cycle and into the electron transport chain. Without these electrons, the electron transport chain wouldn't be able to operate, and thus ATP would not be produced. Without ATP, our bodies cannot function, and we don't have any energy necessary for life.
Arsenic also uncouples oxidative phosphorylation from the rest of the cellular respiration process. Arsenic replaces phosphate in the production of ATP, leading to highly unstable bonds, which quickly hydrolyze to form compounds that can cause cancer in cells. In addition, it can cause damage to mitochondrial DNA and cause mitochondrial swelling. All of these processes together quickly lead to death.
The autopsy report revealed death by anthrax inhalation. The culprit was revealed to be Alicia Maxwell. She exposed Samantha to spores of anthrax bacterium days prior. Alicia then waited for the symptoms to develop before dropping her victim at the house of Eric, knowing she would die there.
This was done in an attempt to frame Eric for Samantha's murder, all part of an elaborate scheme to get him desperate for validation that he isn't the killer, and ultimately get him back.
Thanks for tuning in for another episode of BGSC, and tune in next week while we discuss the murders of the Mrs. Foley's AP Bio classroom. Remember, stay curious and keep exploring. Shout out to our sponsors, CapCut, Mrs. Foley, and Adrian Lamas. Remember, this program is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you.